What I wish I knew about Big U before the FBI dropped the hammer. The shocking truth behind his empire will blow your mind. Eugene Big U Henley, Sylvester Vay Robinson, and Mark Bearclaw Martin were arrested on charges that read like a crime novel. We're talking RICO, violations, murder, extortion, human trafficking, fraud, illegal gambling, and bank fraud. Henley and Robinson could face life in prison, while Martin is looking at up to 20 years. Henley's organization, Big U Enterprise, is described by authorities as a mafia-like entity. Using his ties with the Rollin' 60s Crips, Henley intimidated businesses and extorted money from athletes and musicians. The FBI's wiretaps and informants revealed chilling details, like the murder of aspiring rapper Rayshawn Williams after he dissed Henley in a track. Henley also defrauded pandemic relief programs and embezzled funds meant for his charity, Developing Options. Despite his public persona as a reform gangster and community activist, the FBI unraveled a web of deceit and criminal activity. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the shocking revelations of Big U's criminal empire. You won't believe what the FBI uncovered. The story of Eugene Big U Henley is one that has captivated the public for years. Born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, Henley was no stranger to the harsh realities of street life. From a young age, he was drawn into the world of gangs, finding a sense of belonging and power within the Rollin' 60s Crips. But what set Henley apart from other gang members was his ambition and cunning. He wasn't content with just being foot soldier. He had bigger plans. Henley envisioned an empire, one that would extend far beyond the streets of Los Angeles. He began to build his network, forging alliances with other gangs and criminal organizations. His influence grew, and soon he was at the helm of a sprawling criminal enterprise. But Henley's rise to power was not without its challenges. Rival gangs, law enforcement, and even members of his own organization posed constant threats. Yet, Henley managed to stay one step ahead, using a combination of violence, intimidation, and strategic alliances to maintain his grip on power. The turning point came when the FBI launched an extensive investigation into Henley's activities. For years, they had been gathering evidence using wiretaps, informants, and undercover agents to infiltrate his organization. The breakthrough came when they managed to flip one of Henley's closest associates, who provided them with a treasure trove of information. This insider's testimony was the key to unraveling the complex web of criminal activities that Henley had been orchestrating. The FBI's investigation revealed a staggering array of crimes, from drug trafficking and money laundering to murder and extortion. Henley had his hands in everything, and his reach extended far beyond the streets of Los Angeles. He had connections in the music industry, sports world, and even in politics. His influence was pervasive, and his criminal empire was vast. The charges against Henley and his associates read like the plot of a crime thriller. RICO violations, which are used to target organized crime, were just the tip of the iceberg. The indictment also included charges of murder, extortion, human trafficking, fraud, illegal gambling, and bank fraud. Each charge carried significant penalties, and the cumulative effect was a potential life sentence for Henley and Robinson. Martin, while facing slightly lesser charges, was still looking at up to 20 years in prison. The courtroom was packed during their trial with media, family members, and curious onlookers, all eager to see the outcome. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, including wiretap recordings, financial records, and the testimony of former associates. The defense, on the other hand, tried to paint Henley as a reformed man, someone who had left his criminal past behind and was now dedicated to helping his community. But the evidence was overwhelming, and the jury was not swayed by the defense's arguments. Henley and Robinson were found guilty on all counts. The judge handed down the maximum sentences, ensuring that they would spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Martin, while receiving a slightly lighter sentence, was still condemned to 2 decades in prison. The verdict was a significant victory for law enforcement and a stark reminder of the consequences of a life of crime. But for Henley, it was the end of an era. His empire, which he had built with ruthless determination, was now in ruins. The streets of Los Angeles were a little safer, but the scars of Henley's reign would take years to heal. The story of Big U is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the dangers of ambition unchecked by morality. Henley had the potential to be a force for good, to use his influence and resources to uplift his community, but instead he chose a path of violence and crime, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. His public persona as a reformed gangster and community activist was nothing more than a facade, a carefully crafted image designed to hide his true nature. The FBI's investigation peeled back the layers of deception, revealing the true extent of Henley's criminal activities. It was a sobering reminder that not everything is as it seems, and that even those who claim to have turned over a new leaf can still be hiding dark secrets. Henley's organization, Big U Enterprise, was a sophisticated operation, one that rivaled traditional mafia families in its structure and reach. He had lieutenants who managed different aspects of the business, from drug trafficking to money laundering. Each lieutenant had their own crew, and together they formed a formidable network. Henley was the mastermind, the one who pulled the strings and made the decisions. His leadership style was a mix of fear and loyalty. Those who crossed him faced severe consequences, while those who remained loyal were rewarded handsomely. But as the FBI closed in, cracks began to appear in Henley's empire. Associates who once swore loyalty began to turn, providing law enforcement with the information they needed to bring him down. The Rollin 60s Crips, the gang with which Henley was closely associated, played a significant role in his rise to power. They provided the muscle, the enforcers who carried out his orders and ensured compliance. But Henley's ambitions extended beyond the gang. He saw opportunities in the music industry where he could use his influence to extort money from artists and producers. He also targeted athletes, using threats and intimidation to extract payments. His reach was extensive and his methods were ruthless. The murder of aspiring rapper Rayshawn Williams was a chilling example of Henley's willingness to use violence to maintain his power. Williams had made the mistake of dissing Henley in a track, and for that he paid the ultimate price. It was a stark reminder of the dangers of crossing someone like Henley, someone who had no qualms about using violence to achieve his goals. The music industry, with its glitz and glamour, was an attractive target for Henley. He saw it as a way to launder money and expand his influence. He used his connections to insert himself into the industry, forging relationships with artists and producers, but these relationships were built on a foundation of fear and intimidation. Those who refused to comply with Henley's demands faced severe consequences. The murder of Rayshawn Williams was just one example of the lengths Henley was willing to go to maintain his control. It sent a clear message to others in the industry: cross Henley and you would pay the price. But Henley's criminal activities were not limited to the streets and the music industry. He also saw opportunities in the financial sector where he could exploit weaknesses in the system to his advantage. The pandemic relief programs designed to help struggling businesses and individuals became a target for Henley's schemes. He defrauded these programs, siphoning off funds meant for those in need. It was a callous and calculated move, one that demonstrated Henley's complete lack of empathy. He also embezzled funds from his own charity, Developing Options, which was supposed to help at-risk youth. Instead of using the money for its intended purpose, Henley funneled it into his own pockets, further enriching himself at the expense of the community he claimed to serve. Despite his public persona as a reformed gangster and community activist, the FBI unraveled a web of deceit and criminal activity. Henley's transformation from a gang leader to a community activist was nothing more than a carefully crafted facade. He used his public image to gain trust and access, all while continuing his criminal activities behind the scenes. The FBI's investigation revealed the true extent of Henley's deception, exposing him for what he really was: a ruthless criminal who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. The unraveling of Henley's empire was a complex and painstaking process. The FBI's investigation spanned years, involving countless hours of surveillance, wiretaps, and undercover operations. They had to navigate a web of lies and deception, piecing together the evidence needed to bring Henley and his associates to justice. It was a monumental task, but one that ultimately paid off. The arrest and conviction of Henley and his associates were a significant victory for law enforcement, a testament to their dedication and perseverance. The impact of Henley's downfall was felt far and wide. For the community, it was a moment of relief, a chance to heal from the years of violence and intimidation. For law enforcement, it was a validation of their efforts, a reminder that justice can prevail even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. But for Henley, it was the end of the road. His empire, built on a foundation of crime and deceit, had crumbled. The man who once wielded so much power was now just another inmate serving a life sentence for his crimes. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the shocking revelations of Big U's criminal empire. You won't believe what the FBI uncovered. The story of Eugene Big U Henley is a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the devastating consequences of a life of crime. It is a tale of rise and fall, of power and corruption, and ultimately of justice served. The story of Big U is far from over. As we continue to uncover more details about his criminal empire, we will bring you the latest updates and insights. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the world of Eugene Big U Henley, a man whose name will forever be synonymous with crime and corruption.